The Alaska crab season began during one of the coldest storms of the year. Captain Daniel Brooks understood how deadly Arctic crab fishing could become. The violent Bering Sea punished every ship crossing the frozen waters. The exhausted crew lowered reinforced crab cages into the icy ocean. The freezing temperatures turned every cable dangerously rigid. Far beneath the frozen surface, something enormous moved toward the cage. An enormous king crab slowly crawled through the Arctic darkness. The creature looked larger than any crab ever recorded. Hours later, one cage suddenly became impossible to move. The crew immediately realized the cage trapped something enormous. Captain Daniel Brooks ordered the dangerous retrieval operation to continue. The overloaded cable sounded ready to explode apart. The worsening storm transformed the operation into a survival battle. One mistake on the ice-covered deck could become fatal instantly. The heavy cage rose toward the surface centimeter by centimeter. The giant king crab was larger than the rescue boat attached to the ship. The enormous predator looked terrifying beneath the Arctic lighting. Nobody on board had ever seen a crab this massive before. One powerful strike shook the entire vessel violently. The reinforced steel cage began collapsing beneath the crab's strength. The crew struggled desperately to control the violent movement.
Captain Daniel Brooks ordered every crew member onto the deck immediately.
The exhausted fishermen tried desperately to secure the impossible catch. The giant crab destroyed layers of industrial steel effortlessly. One overloaded cable finally exploded apart. The broken cable nearly killed 2 crew members instantly. Every movement of the creature threatened to destroy the vessel. Years of expensive equipment disappeared within seconds. The fishing vessel began drifting dangerously during the chaos. The freezing Bering Sea showed no mercy to the exhausted crew.
The overloaded winch system was close to total failure.
The giant creature nearly escaped back into the Arctic depths. Every fisherman on board fought to contain the impossible creature. The storm intensified as the dangerous operation continued. The exhausted crew relied on industrial cargo chains, normally used for shipping containers. The overloaded crane groaned beneath the impossible weight. The giant creature looked unreal, hanging above the freezing ocean. One uncontrolled swing could destroy the entire deck instantly. The main crane began showing signs of structural failure.
Emergency repairs became necessary before the machinery collapsed completely.
After hours of chaos, the giant creature finally reached the deck. The exhausted crew could barely believe the size of the catch. The giant king crab was too large for the standard processing area. The enormous creature measured wider than several crab cages combined. The shattered cage became proof of the creature's terrifying strength. The dangerous return voyage began with the giant creature still moving. The battered ship immediately changed course toward shore. Every powerful wave threatened to break the restraints completely. Captain Daniel Brooks feared the overloaded vessel might not survive the blizzard. The violent Bering Sea continued attacking the exhausted crew relentlessly. The crew worked non-stop to secure the impossible catch. The fishing ship looked painfully small against the frozen ocean. After surviving the brutal night, the harbor finally appeared ahead. The harbor workers had never prepared for a crab this large. Rumors about the impossible catch spread across the harbor before sunrise. Even docking the overloaded ship became extremely risky. The unloading operation required industrial cargo equipment, normally used for machinery. The overloaded crane motors groaned beneath the unbelievable weight. The giant creature looked unreal, hanging above the industrial dock. One uncontrolled movement could destroy nearby equipment instantly. Several workers feared the steel cables might fail completely. The dangerous wind nearly turned the unloading into disaster. The impossible unloading operation succeeded by only a few centimeters. The overloaded transport vehicle barely handled the enormous creature. Even the industrial trailer looked too small for the giant crab. The giant creature headed toward Alaska's largest seafood warehouse. The frozen processing floor shook beneath the enormous weight. The inspection team immediately realized the catch was historically unusual. Several veteran fishermen had never seen a crab this heavy. The giant king crab looked powerful enough to crush steel machinery. Only the most experienced processor accepted the operation. Each crab leg weighed more than a fully grown worker. The industrial facility struggled to handle the extraordinary size. The dangerous floor conditions became increasingly hazardous. Standard seafood equipment failed beneath the extreme weight. Marine researchers arrived immediately after hearing about the impossible catch. The enormous creature fascinated researchers across Alaska. For the exhausted fishermen, the impossible journey was finally ending. Captain Daniel Brooks watched the storm disappear beyond the harbor. The brutal Arctic storm had nearly destroyed the entire operation. The impossible king crab became legendary across Alaska fishing communities. News about the extraordinary catch spread rapidly through international media. The shattered equipment revealed how dangerous the operation truly became. The battered ship survived one of the most terrifying nights in company history. The giant king crab became part of Arctic fishing history forever. The exhausted fishermen finally allowed themselves to celebrate survival. The brutal Arctic Ocean continued hiding unknown creatures beneath the ice. Captain Daniel Brooks knew another impossible catch could appear someday. Somewhere beneath the frozen Arctic waters, another giant creature is still waiting.